Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, some shit has happened that is really special. This team, the Montreal Canadiens, are the kings of the North. They are kings, but they have been treated like peasants since the beginning against the Leafs. Leafs in 4. Leafs in 5. Oh no, Leafs in 6. Oh no, Leafs in 7. No chance. Jets in 4, 5, 6, 7. No. Habs sweep the fucking Jets and make it for the first time in 2014 when Chris Kreider hit Carey Price. We're here. We're here. We did it. We're making it to the conference final, the semifinal because of this pandemic trash. And we're here. What a year. What a fucking group. Here alongside me. Fuck this chair. I've got Alex, I've got Justin, and myself, Mackie. Tonight, we talk about this sweet fucking victory that the Montreal Canadiens just bestowed upon us. I'm sorry, Jets fans. It's been great, but we have to sweep the floor. It's been swept. The dust has settled. Canadian Tire has run out of brooms. Alex, Justin, how the fuck are you?
I'm fucking amazing, dude. That was a crazy intro. I love it. I love the passion coming from you and the fucking just yelling into your mic.
Yeah, there's a lot of yelling. A lot of yelling.
It was great. No.
Well,
but yeah, we just fucking swept.
Swept.
Yo, people don't understand.
No, they don't.
This playoffs, we came back from a 3-1 deficit,
3-1.
and then we sweep. When the fuck does this happen?
No, not that often. I think the other year that it was somewhat similar was, 93? Was that it? Huh? Does anybody remember that shit? We do. Alex, this game, the Montreal Canadiens, what are you thinking right now? And apologies to everyone. This is a little bit more intense, more Montreal Canadiens based, but you need to understand where we are coming from. But Alex is going to bring us back down to earth. Tell us a little bit about this game and how you're feeling right now.
Man, yeah, just before getting into the game, like you said, it 2014, this has been 7 years we've been waiting to get back here. And it was so disappointingly ruined in 2014 where it felt like we had such a good chance and our savior was basically destroyed. Was it intentional? We'll never know. But here's his chance to redeem himself, and he's rolling right now. Game 4, I mean, what a dominant performance. For it to even get to overtime was crazy because I have not seen Montreal play like that in a long, long time. Just utter dominance. Unbelievable stuff, really. That fourth line still rolling. Cole Caulfield could have scored 6. What a feed on the goal by Toffoli. I mean, we all thought Caulfield was coming up here to score some big goals, but
no.
Looks like he might be the next Nick Backstrom to Toffoli as Ovechkin there. So, yeah, I mean, nothing but positives to say to this game, and to end it with a sweep is just beautiful. And we move on to dominate the next team that tries to take us on.
Now, Justin, before you answer here and maybe develop on this game, a couple of things here. The Jets in an elimination game. Now, again, we come back down to earth here and give a little bit more of an analytical take here. The Jets are coming into, a situation that is almost insurmountable. Like the 3-0 deficit is extremely difficult to come out of. We all knew this. But on the other side of things, the Montreal Canadiens are trying to close this out. And as we know, when you're closing it out, and a lot of the players have said it, it's the hardest one. It's that fourth one. Because the team next to you, or the team in front of you, I should say, is going to come out with some desperation. And in this effort, the Jets only get 16 shots on net. Now, I will say that out of all of the games, I think Carey Price would have told everyone, and himself included, that wasn't his greatest game. A couple of goals that in other nights, probably against the Leafs or even earlier on in the series against the Jets, no chance I was going in. No chance. Like Logan Stanley is not sniping 2 on Carey Price in Carey Price playoff Carey Price mode. So that's an interesting thing, is that the Montreal Canadiens get 42 shots somewhere around that to 16 shots against the Jets. Obviously hungry in front of their home crowd, but what I wanted to say and segue into this is the fact that Blake Wheeler says this right after the series is over. He says, I'm not going to sit here and say that we played our best 4 games again of the season against Montreal, but that's because of how they played. That's a reflection of how well Montreal is playing right now. And I say that because, like I said in the intro, there has been no respect given to the Montreal Canadiens. Now, let's elaborate on that, Justin. What do you think about this? Have the Montreal Canadiens gotten to the point where that they deserve this respect, or do you need to wait for this next round against either Vegas or Avalanche?
I mean, they have to deserve the respect at this point, because if not, like, the Jets should be embarrassed, and even more so, the Edmonton Oilers should be fucking embarrassed. Like, they got swept by the Jets, they got swept by us, so it's even worse. But I just think that the Habs, obviously, like you said, were hungrier in this game itself. But I think they're just hard to play against right now. Like, they're just always forechecking, always on those open ice pucks. Like, there's no room out there for the opposition, and it's just a relentless effort by every single line. And as we've seen time after time, game after game, the lines are playing around the same amount of minutes and are playing well. So we're not seeing any kind of fourth line, any line that is kind of, oh man, we have to pick up the slack with this line. Like, we're scared when they're coming on the ice. It's just like a concerted effort. Every line is effective, and they're doing their job right. They're buying into the system, and it's working wonders. It's working perfectly. Like, you can't write a better hockey game than what transpired here. Obviously, Carey Price let in a couple Logan Stanley snipes there. But even in a game where Price wasn't completely on his game, we still managed to pull out a win, which was, it seemed like that could have been impossible against a Toronto team. Like, if he had a bad night, we might have been fucked. Yeah. So the team's gaining confidence offensively and defensively and just all around the ice, and it's just great to see. Like, we have confidence now, like real confidence. Because I felt like some of the confidence in the Toronto series was just like, all right, Carey Price is a god. But now it seems like we're a complete team, and it seems like we can be unstoppable.
We spoke about this starting Game 5, the seed of doubt that was planted. But by God, it's no longer a seed. It's just a flower with plenty of petals, and it's beautiful. It's confident. It's got layers, and those layers are all of our lines that are rolling, like you said. And I guess my question now is, what is really the key here that the Montreal Canadiens, apart from good goaltending, like, what do you guys think is the recipe for success and the brand of hockey? I don't think I can ever remember a team that has played so in unison on 5-on-5 in my lifetime. Now, I mean, 2014, we all know that we were riding on Carey Price like to the nth extent. It was difficult to score goals. Right now, we're in the second round. We've been able to score goals. Obviously, we're coming off a very emotionally charged first round against the Leafs that we haven't played against since 1979. But what are you guys seeing? Because I see a team that is just a unit that just, it's like a living species. It's a phenomenon apart from itself. Alex, what are the keys for you?
I think Justin touched on it a bit. A big thing is just confidence and belief in your teammates that you know they're going to fulfill their role every night, and they don't have to try to overplay and step up and feel like they have to carry anything. So I think it was Byron in one of the post-game interviews was basically saying that Dominique Ducharme held a meeting with each line separately and told them, this is what we expect of you. This is your role in this series. And Byron said, like, at that, I think it was Byron, I could be wrong, but basically he said that everyone knew exactly what they needed to do, and they're all going to go out and do it. And there's no one like Toffoli, Danault, Gallagher, who are expected to shut down top players while also providing the offense. They can focus on that. And I think once you have confidence that you can do that, there's no, I'm not going to say there's no stopping them, but
you can say it.
It's hard to beat. I mean, Phil Danault, that line, again, they've shut down the top Jets players in this series. There's no reason to think they can't do it against a team like Vegas or Colorado. We saw it against guys like Matthews and Marner, who who are top guys comparable to McKinnon, Rantanen, or Pacioretty, Stone. And then if you let the depth do its thing, that fourth line is going to outmatch other fourth lines. Guys like Caulfield, Suzuki are buzzing against other second and third lines. So if everyone plays their role and is confident that they can do it, no one tries to go out of their shell and try to feel like they have to make something happen, then there's no reason you can't win as an organized team that has everyone filling the role they need to.
Justin, anything to add on that?
No, I mean, Alex said most of it. I think I totally agree. We have to use our depth and rolling 4 lines, everyone playing their own roles, and that way, like you said, we're gonna dominate those lower lines on other teams, like the third and fourth lines that are mostly kind of the checking lines, the bargain bin players. Our lines can all score, and like we saw at the Corey Perry, Yoel Armia, and Eric Stahl line, that line was absolutely dominant. And like, how do you as a coach on another team, what do you do to match up to that line? Because like, they're just a dominant possession line that brings the momentum, they bring energy, and they're going to be playing against worse players, worse lines, and they can score, they can do all that stuff. So it's, I don't know. I think our depth is just coming to fruition now, and everyone, like Alex said, knows their role, and it's really going well. We just need to keep this up and keep being able to score. I think that's a big key too.
Now, the thing that I will say, the pessimists or the realists, if you want to call it that, I do have to agree. Right now, we're on cloud 9. I'm not gonna, dismiss the fact that we're riding this to the nth extent, and we're just living out something that we've been waiting for. Like you said, Alex, since 2014, it's been 7 years that we've been waiting for this group to get back to a spot like this, and we're here. So coming back to what I was about to say in terms of pessimism and maybe a more realistic take for those who don't necessarily believe in the hype of the Montreal Canadiens just yet, the teams that we might face, Vegas and the Colorado Avalanche, I would say that the depth, the star power, the defense, maybe even the goaltending, I think the Toronto Maple Leafs were comparable teams to the type of firepower and in terms of star power. However, where I will put an edge on the two teams that we're going to be seeing here, first of all, the Avalanche, they've proven it, that they're a team that can win around, so that they don't have any demons. They've proven it. They're getting to the conference final. That's one thing. Their defense and their depth, I believe, is a bit more problematic to us. And actually, the team that scares me the most in terms of depth is actually Vegas. Now, right now, we've had a good matchup against the Jets team where the depth without a Scheifele, a Pierre-Luc Dubois, who didn't necessarily show up to this game, or this series, I should say. There's a lot of different factors here that didn't go for the Jets, including the fact that the Montreal Canadiens were the better team and performed like the better team. But I do worry that this might be a next challenge where we're going to need the Montreal Canadiens to even take it another level here. Because right now, a sweep against the Jets, it's beautiful. But like you said, and even Shea Weber, is that we're not satisfied. We're not done yet. So, Alex, go ahead.
I absolutely agree with you. And I don't want to straight out say that we can be dominant against teams like this. Obviously, we would have to consider ourselves underdogs against a team like Colorado or Vegas. But like you're mentioning, taking it to the next level, we still have offensive upside that hasn't really been shown yet. A guy like Caulfield hasn't even scored. Kotkaniemi's slowed down a little. Not to say he's played badly at all. I just mean score sheet wise. And a guy like Jeff Petrie, who, if he's back, still doesn't have a goal. So I think there's still upside to be had there. And I think with the way the team is playing, again, it's not a sport like basketball, or I'll mostly say basketball, where the favorite's going to win, right? All we need is a few bounces, still have Carey Price in nets. And the depth, I think, can match up to teams like this, maybe 60-40. You'd put Vegas favorites, or even like 55-45, which over a hockey game is not insurmountable at all. So I don't see why they can't do it. I'd agree with you that we probably have to play even better than we have been, but I think that's attainable. And I think there's guys who still have room to step up even more.
Anybody that tops your list for that, Justin, in terms of people that we need absolutely to step up?
I mean, I would disagree. I honestly think that we're playing the best hockey, like almost the best hockey that we can. I agree that maybe there's some players that could be producing, but I mean, when one player is not producing, another one's going to step up. So like we're seeing goals from like Lehkonen and stuff, and players like that, and like Armia, players that don't necessarily always get on the score sheet. So, I mean, if we keep doing this like depth rolling of the lines, I think we'll just keep on having that one of these guys that steps up every night. And yeah, so I wouldn't say someone really needs to step up. I think everyone has already been stepping up. We just need to keep to our game. And yeah, if we're talking about the Golden Knights or fucking the Avalanche. Avalanche is such a weird name that it's not like a plural of something. But yeah, the Avalanches. I don't know. I'm scared of both of these teams. I'm like, yeah. They're scary teams. If you watch the games, they're fast, they're skilled. It seems like
heavy.
Yeah, they're heavy, and yeah, they're scary. But it's going to be interesting because obviously we haven't played these teams in like a year and a half. Like we haven't come close to playing them. And even when we do play them, we play them like what twice a year.
Yeah,
so it's like it's a whole new fucking game. It's as if it's like a cup final where you're playing against the Western opponent and you kind of don't know what to expect. So I don't know. I'm really excited. Personally don't know which one I would pick in the like out of the two of them. Yeah, I don't know about you guys for that.
I'm gonna answer that question relatively easily, I think, and it's honestly very, very much because of recency bias. The Vegas Golden Knights have like turned the narrative of the series. Like the Colorado Avalanche right now are on their heels. Last game was absolutely dominant, and that's where the depth, I feel like, I know that you're saying that you don't need anybody to step up, but I actually completely disagree. I think a player that we absolutely need to be more present in terms of, and I'm not saying that he's played bad, but it's just another level that we need. The same level that he started off the Maple Leaf series, and I know that he might be playing with an injury. Sorry, it's Josh Anderson. Josh Anderson is going to be absolutely key in playing a heavy team like the Vegas Golden Knights or even the Colorado Avalanche to do some damage in the depth to make it more of like, this is our game changer that's not on our first line with Caulfield, Suzuki, and Toffoli. That's been great. But that's the player that for me might be the storyline for this next series, whereas Yoel Armia was probably the MVP of this one, which was against his former team against the Jets. So, Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I wanted to add to my point there about the depth thing. Like, I clearly don't mean that we've had people not stepping up and that we need people to step up. I think, like you said, we need the depth to keep rolling. But what Mackie touched on, if we want to win the semifinals, we need guys like Caulfield to be scoring. Anderson is a perfect example. Even guys like Gallagher, Danault, maybe to pitch in a few more goals. I know they're playing their roles super well, but we have to take it to that next level, like you said. And for team to face, I'd agree with you. I'd rather face Colorado, like you mentioned, because of the depth. I think their first line is unreal, but maybe a bit easier to shut down. I could be eating my words and they could score 3 on us every night, but I see them being a little easier to contain, probably other than McKinnon. And I think a big piece is the goaltending there. Philip Grubauer has been great, but he often has injury issues and is obviously less proven than a guy like Fleury. They also have Robin Lehner as a backup if anything goes wrong there. So I think the goaltending is something we could exploit. We saw Hellebuck in this series was a fantastic goalie, but we were able to get to him. So yeah, I think Grubauer is a guy who can be beat.
Yeah, the one thing that I wanted to add that was really key in our success against the Jets. Now it'll be difficult against both of these teams, and it's on both sides of the ice. It's the front of the net. Dave Poulin from TSN said this, and I totally agree. So we've got the big four here: Petrie, Sherratt, Edmondson, and Weber that have been clearing the net and making Carey Price be able to see the puck, make some saves. The seams, we discussed about this not only on the PK, but just in regular 5-on-5 hockey. There's no cross seam passes that are going and that there's maybe on occasion where Carey Price needs to really have made a save against the Jets. And for me, against a heavier team like the Colorado Avalanche, like the Vegas Golden Knights, and the team that has been really relying on these four to be the go-to guys, this is another level. And the rest that we're going to get from this fucking sweep break here that we get I think is absolutely fantastic for this group, because it's going to be a hell of a, I want to say a banger type of series. It's going to be heavy hockey with speed, and the speed at which that the game is being played right now in the series. I don't know if it has to do, this is just maybe me spitballing here, but I'd have to think that there's a palpable energy like we saw in the Bell Center to the same extent as the Colorado Avalanche and the Vegas Golden Knights that have practically a full fucking arena filled. Yeah. So there's an excitement there that you cannot mimic just because of the sheer numbers and the fact that it's like back to normal over there. It's not back to normal here. Now, I don't want to say that it's going to be an advantage because the Bell Center, again, I swear to God, 2,500 is going to sound like 25,000, and it has been the case. It has been the case. But there is a reality here, is that you can't match those numbers. You can't match that energy. You can't match the AC that comes off with the towels there when people are spinning it when it's going nuts. You can't. So that's one thing that I honestly worry about. There's that element of the crowd that can really shift. I know that the Montreal Canadiens fans are going to do as best as they can, but especially in Vegas, even Colorado, man, they've got two really pumped up fan bases right now. I don't know if you guys think that this is a threat into coming into these matchups at all.
I definitely think it can be. I don't know. It's tough to say because we obviously do have fans. So I don't think we're going to be at a disadvantage in our own building. Like, I think in our building, we're still going to get pumped up by our fans. But I think they're still, like, I was watching the Vegas Colorado game in Vegas. Well, I wasn't in Vegas, but the game that was in Vegas. And they seemed so pumped up by the crowd. They seemed just so energized and like, it really seemed to help their game a lot. So I could see that happening where these are kind of like teams that feed off the energy of a crowd. Especially in a situation where you haven't had a crowd all year, so it's like extra sick. But I also think it could work for that in the Habs' favor as well. Like, just playing in front of a crowd pumps you up. Like, even if you're an away player, so them playing in front of a crowd for the first time, like a full arena, is gonna be a big step for them, and it's gonna be a big like, oh, this is fucking sick. Let's fucking do this. So. Yeah. I mean, it could work both ways. I think maybe they have an advantage since they have home ice advantage, but I guess we'll see.
The one thing that you shall not forget when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens is that we are everywhere. Vegas, you think that there's not going to be Habs fans that are going straight for that fucking game? Conference, semifinals, whatever you want to call them, they're there. Avalanche, I'm telling you, there's going to be some people. Is my dog here? Are you serious right now? My dog is here in the middle of a podcast. I'm very sorry. Please, this is Maya. Hang on, let me show Maya real quick. Maya, you say hello?
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, she doesn't
all
want
right.
to say hello.
Anyway, yeah, she doesn't. Anyways, so that's Maya. Coming back to the series, Alex, what do you have to say for for the advantage that might be presented by the home crowd for either Vegas or the Avalanche?
Honestly, my main concern would be going to Vegas and the fact that casinos and bars are open again. The players might go on a bit of a bender, but no, I think you guys, like what you said, obviously it's going to be a different environment, but Montreal has always been a team that's thrived just in big, full buildings, right? Like we always see it against Boston, that famous Subban quote that he wants to go there, the atmosphere, take it all in and take it all away from them, right? And I think even though Subban's not there, that's still an identity that Montreal has. We're always the underdog. Game sevens, we're usually in the away building, and we usually come out with the win. So, yeah, it'll be tough, something to adapt to, but that's not really my biggest concern with the series. I think, obviously, the fact that these teams are next level is more of a fear of mine. And also, Max Pacioretty might have something to prove to fans who used to call him patio ready. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not looking forward to playing Vegas if that's the case.
Yeah. I mean,
they also have a Quebecois, Jonathan Marchessault, who I'm sure
True. Yeah.
is
And
pumped
Fleury.
up by all the Quebecois commentators. And they always seem to do well against their own. So that's going to be another story there.
Except if you're named Pierre-Luc Dubois. Wow. Sorry. Anyways, guys, I think that about wraps it up for the preview / celebratory episode. We are the Kegs of the North. It's as simple as that. You can't take it away from us. It's done. The seed of doubt, now a flower, blossoming as we head into the semifinals. For Alex, for Justin, for Mackie, together we make the No Respect podcast. Always reminding you to respect the
Orgasm Nation.
Go Habs, go, bitch.
The King in the North!
It's a bit much, I'm sorry.